Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So this is the Vox DA15. So 15 watt amp, 8-inch speaker in it. Does have foot switch capability so you can roll through your effects. But it didn't come with a foot switch for me. But it's not hard to get one. Amazon still does sell the foot switch, or you can probably put the Boss ones on without any issue, or hey, build your own, right? Anyway, it makes it easy to roll through different effects and whatnot. It does have an editing feature, so you can edit current effects that are built into the separate side of the amp where your independent effects area is, and they have quite a selection. And same with your different amp models as far as, you know, clean tones, blues tones, crunchy stuff, high gain, that sort of thing. You do have bass, mid, treble, gain, volume, and of course overall master. So they've packed a lot into this thing, you know, and I have no idea what the brand new retail on this amp would have been, but it has been out of circulation for quite a while. I managed to find this one at Long and McQuaid in North Bay for 69 bucks Canadian, so I am not complaining. And the sound is so rich and lush. It's just, wow, like a little bit of reverb there. Now you also have a lot of built-in effects, right? Presets. But you can also bypass and go and push the manual button, which, by the way, when you turn the amp off, it remembers the last thing that you had set up. So if you were in manual mode and whatever settings you had on whatever you were on, it remembers that, which is quite cool. Now you do have 2 channels, so you can program 2 of your own favorite presets into this as well, so that's kind of a nice bonus, right? You can bypass at least a lot of the stuff within their own presets, so you can custom tailor to your own, or you can just go manual mode, program your own stuff. So there's a lot of flexibility there, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist to program this thing. And there is no computer hookup control, so you do not have a program like something like the Boss Katanas. They have programs. The Fender Mustang amps, they have programs to allow you to program the amp more to your liking, right? This is all manually done, and you only get to save 2 of your favorite presets, but hey, you know what? Big deal, right? At least they give us 2, and you pick your 2 favorites. And in manual mode too, this is really ideal too, so if you were to say want to gig with this thing, mic it up would definitely be something you'd have to do, especially outdoors. You could mic this thing up and play live with it. It does have the horsepower to be mic'd, right? And because when you're miking up an amp, you're going into a PA system, or mic it up in your room, in your own little bedroom, or your own recording studio in your house, and go into your DAW that way, or go through the headphone line out jack into your favorite DAW on your computer and record with this thing. I mean, it does have a lot of flexibility and no complexity to it, other than you do have to learn how to read the manual to understand how to program things, but it is very, very easy. I'd say anybody could figure this thing out without any issue. There are more advanced modeling amps out there, like the Katana series, for example. Boss gives you X amount just without using computer control, but then anything more than that, yeah, you're going to want computer control, and those amps do run that in order to fully program. But of course, you're talking about something that's got, you know, virtually every Boss effect in it currently, among other things, and it is just one really cool amp, but probably not the most suitable amp for beginners to be able to get a multitude of things going on with ease, okay? And I do know a lot of adults that they're actually my age or older, and they're just not computer savvy people, although they should be considering the generation we're both in. You know, it's like we grew up when the first home computers came out, you know, we were there when the first cell phones hit the market, you know, that sort of thing, right? And it's like, you guys are not technically, okay, well, hey, some people aren't, whatever, that's fine. This sort of amp makes that life very good and friendly for those who are not computer savvy, because you don't have to be, but you still have to learn at least the manual stuff if you want to really take full advantage of this amp. And it honestly is not that hard. I actually have this thing in manual mode right now because I don't like the presets in this thing. So this is about what I don't like about my gear, right? These videos. And what I don't like are their presets, not for what they picked, but for the volume levels. As soon as you hit onto a preset, it's like boom kind of thing on a lot of them, right? And it's like, oh man, I gotta turn that volume down quick, right? So then you gotta hit one of the volumes or gain or something to bypass, and then readjust everything so you can get their preset sound, which you might like, but then you're gonna have to dial in your own volume level to that in order to achieve the goal, you know what I mean? But in manual mode, it's so simplistic. And, you know, whatever you do with the amp, which is a nice feature, is when you're in a preset mode, whatever you last did on that preset, if you turn the power off and back on, it keeps it there, so at least it doesn't scream at you the next time around. But if you're in manual mode too, whatever you've last done, everything is the same, right? So if you have this favorite clean like I've got going right now, then I turn off the power, so the amp is now off, right? Go turn it back on. Exactly the same, right? So there's no way I'm going to disturb anybody. You know, if I already had a low setting, I'm not going to get a heart attack from a loud sound, unless that's what I last left it on, in which case, yeah, it's going to be loud. You know, and if we go and we roll on to the next manual clean tone, you know, so let me just scoot around here a little bit. So the levels stay the same. Alright, go into blues. The blues is a little louder, right? So if we want to be a little quieter, we can, right? Now on manual mode, I've chosen just having the reverb. I don't have particularly a ton of use for the other effects, although some of them may be useful for me, but if I'm playing on a clean tone or even on a blues tone, I just want reverb and that's it, you know? Just enough to weten up the signal that sounds really good. So, yeah, so there's not much to not like about the amp. Now, it does have foot switch control, so you can go between your favorite presets, which is nice. It's got the headphone line out for recording with, or headphones, private listening. Does not have an auxiliary input. Okay, I know a lot of you people, you go like, yeah, but a lot of the newer amps, they have auxiliary inputs, so I could plug in my, you know, old-fashioned CD player or tape cassette player and or whatever, or MP3, iPod, right? And you could play along. Well, not with this amp. You're not doing any of that, okay? You don't have that input source for that. So you're going to have to figure that out another way to jam with your favorite tunes. Now the thing does take a pedal board or independent pedals really well too, which, you know, there are amps out there on the market that, yeah, great, fantastic amps, really expensive, but don't you dare hook a pedal board to them because everything will just fall apart. Not in this case. In this case, the onboard effects all are fantastic for what they give us and how they give us to use them. At the same time, we can just go into manual mode. We can even bypass the effects patch area by just pushing a button called bypass, and then you get a straight dry signal. You're on a straight clean amp, dirty amp, whatever, and you can use your own pedals otherwise. So if you have a favorite, you know, hall or cathedral reverb, you have your favorite delay pedal, whatever, you can use those independently, and you can even combine them with the built-in effects for, you know, the flanger, phaser, chorus, and all that, and go double up on that, right? So if you don't have a lot of pedals, you know, you can compensate the difference for what's built in and use both. So that is a lot of extra abilities, which is nice, okay? So yeah, not much to not like about the amp. Sound quality on this thing is just, for just a little bit bigger cabinet than the Pathfinder 10 and a bigger speaker, an extra 5 watts, just that alone, if all the controls were the same as the Pathfinder 10, it would be like outstanding, right? But it's even more outstanding because you do have all these extra effects on top of that. But like I said, this is an older amp. You're not going to get them brand new anymore. But if you do find a used one online or in your local music store, maybe somebody brought one in for trade-in, because you never know, even in Canada, what Long McQuaid's going to have, because that's where I got this one from, in the North Bay store for 69 bucks. Now that I think was a steal, also considering it's Vox. Vox is generally not cheap stuff, but it's not expensive stuff either until you get into the high end. But even the cheapest Vox tube amp that I've seen in stock for an all-tube amp is like still 750 bucks Canadian. What I've seen in stock. I haven't checked the website to see the full selection of Vox stuff that they carry, but you know, even this amp I'm sure was probably easily a few $100s new. But it's still going, it's still alive, it's still working absolutely flawless. And I like the amp. Overall, I really love this amp. There's not much to not like about it. That's the thing. It's hard to pick on it, right? Because for me, I think it's fantastic. Because I don't like a lot of those extra things like auxiliary input circuits. I don't use them. I don't like them. I don't like built-in tuners on amps because, well, we'll go through that in another video of things that I don't like built in to amplifiers and why, okay? Because there is, in my opinion, a lot of issues with certain things built into amps. And we will talk about modeling amps versus regular amps, right? Because there's a big difference there. Anyways, that's it for this one. Thanks for stopping in. Do check the playlist for other stuff. I also got all my current guitars that I own right now up on there. And well, we still have what? We still got 4 more amps to go, and then we'll just keep going with the rest of my gear. Anyways, see ya.